Hey, good morning. Hey, everybody. It is Saturday, and it's Diabetic Awareness Month. I'm down in Molly's room, and I've been coming to you live every single day sharing something about type 1 because it's Diabetic Awareness Month. I've also been wearing my blue, and I've got to tell you guys what I've learned is I don't have very many blue things. I think I have like 7 blue things, so I'm getting tired of wearing the same thing over and over, but it's part of what I'm doing to remind myself every day that Molly might wake up and not want to deal with it either, but she has to. So if all I'm doing is putting on a blue shirt, I'm pretty sure, and it annoys me, it gives me just a tiny perspective of some days how she must wake up and not want to do it. Tiny perspective. What I wanted to show you today is, the title of this one is, Do You Want to See a $6,200 Lamp? Let me show you. Now I've got it taken apart, so it looks really wobbly, so bear with me. This is what a $200 lamp looks like. It's just a lamp, right? But it is filled with test strips. So Molly got this lamp almost 3 years ago for Christmas. She had asked for it because she wanted to start collecting her test strips. She just thought it'd be fun to kind of see them pile up or fill a lamp with something. When we were kids, we had a lamp that had seashells in it. So Molly just thought this would be kind of fun to have a lamp with all of her used test strips. So this has been a little less than 3 years worth of collecting test strips. There are about 6,200 strips in here. So a little bit less than 3 years, 6,200 strips. If you do the math, it averages about 5.5 times a day that she's pricking her finger. A couple things that I want to share with you about this is this. Let me move this back so you can see the little lamp. What this 6,200 strips tells me is that 6,200 times at minimum, I mean, we haven't saved them all, obviously, over the last 3 years, and she's been a diabetic almost 5 years. So there are 2 years we didn't collect these strips. But in the last almost 3 years, 6,200 times a needle has entered her finger. If you can imagine how sore her fingertips must be. 6,200 times her health was at the forefront of her mind. It's way more than that, but that's just the time she was checking her blood sugar. 6,200 times as a parent, we had to watch her endure a needle entering her arm, her finger. 6,200 drops of blood in the last 3 years. At minimum. That's a lot of test strips. This is proof that where insulin is a Band-Aid for us, it's not a cure. And that's why I come on here and that's why I advocate, because this isn't a cure. This is managing the disease with insulin and checking your blood sugar until we can find a cure. This is not a cure. Insulin's not a cure. And that's why I come on here and that's why I share. It makes me a little bit emotional. That's a lot to think about. That's a lot of test strips. And that's only 3 of her 5 years. I'll share a couple of quick little things with you as well. This lamp's gonna fall apart because I have it into so many pieces. When I was pulling these out, because I weighed them and I kind of did it unscientific, I don't know if you can see this because I've got a bright light. Let me take the light off for a minute, if you can see that. You can see right here, as I was pulling these out, there's still remnants of her blood on there. See that? Dried blood. I mean, it's a test strip, that's what it takes. So that kind of struck me as I was doing this, like, oh gosh, dried blood. No fun to see when it's your child. If you're a parent and you're not a diabetic parent and you've taken your kids for immunizations, and you know the fear and the crying that happens with immunizations. Now, obviously these kids get used to this, but it's still a needle going into their body multiple times a day. It's not an easy thing to stomach as a parent. This is approximately 100 test strips. These test strips, you guys, they're tiny. They're tiny. I don't know if you can see. I mean, they're teeny tiny little test strips. Here's one on my thumb, so you can see how little they are. This is approximately 100 test strips, okay? So let me turn this just a little bit. Let me show you. So if this is 100, and this is about 6,200, but here's the magnitude of what this is. So if you watch me dump these out, and you think every one of these is a drop of blood, every one of these is a needle into her little finger, every one of these comes with fear of what that number will be. guys, that's a lot. It's a lot. It's overwhelming as a parent. It's overwhelming. So there's just one of them. Dried blood on the back. So, in the diabetic community, we call this diabetic confetti because we find them all over our house. Everywhere we go, we find them in the bottom of purses. We find them in the bottom of shoes. We find them in the most random places because they're so little. We find them every single place. But this is what almost 3 years of finger checking, blood sugar checks looks like. $6,200. So this is the most expensive lamp we own in our house by far. $6,200 for a lamp I would never pay. But that's just a fraction of what Molly's medical expenses are with type 1. So the test strips are actually probably one of the least expensive things we pay for with Molly for type 1. But anyway, guys, this is why I advocate. This is why I come on here. This is why I share, because I want this to go away for my child. I want this to go away. I want her to have a cure, not a Band-Aid. I want her to have a perfectly healthy life away from type 1 without having to use insulin to keep her alive. So this is why I come on here every day live the month of November. This is why I advocate. This is why I beg you to follow along. I beg you to learn beside us. Not only could you protect Molly and save her life when she's out in the wild, but you guys advocating and paying attention to news articles and stories and the hope for a cure and helping us raise money and advocate with us and beside us. This is what will make this go away so that Molly can live, hopefully, a very normal, healthy life. So, $6,200 lamp, you guys. I'd give it away for nothing in order to give this disease away with it. So please continue to fight with us until type 1 is type none. Thanks for following along. Thanks for loving Molly. Thanks if you don't know me personally, if you don't know Molly personally, thanks for the other type 1 diabetics you love in your life. Just had a college teammate pop on here. Hi, Jenny. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Happy Diabetic Awareness Month. Happy Saturday. Please fight with us until type 1 is type none.